Will I be allowed any visitors?
Yeah, of course you will. Many as you like. Matter of fact, we've got one for you tomorrow morning.
Who?
Miss Ross, I believe.
Sally? Are you sure?
Thought I'd cheer you up a bit. I saw the name on the file just before I came on duty. Your friend, Mr. Frederick, arranged it.
Frederick? Who's Frederick?
Well, maybe I was wrong.
On your feet, Sadler.
What's going on? Don't you know? No.
All right, lads.
Hey, you can't do this!
What's on
Not for another 10 days! What's going on?
Sally, what are you doing
Can
here?
I come in?
Well, the curfew.
I must speak to you.
Now, look, if they see you...
I wasn't followed.
After the trial today, they're bound to be watching.
Then they'll not be surprised I've come to visit you, will they?
Come in. Sorry, love. Take your coat off.
Thanks.
Do you want a cup of tea?
No thanks, Bill.
Got some cider if you want it.
No, really, thanks.
See yourself down.
What did he want?
Who?
That man, Frederick.
Oh, you wanted me to make out a list, all the people Robert ever saw here at home, friends, visitors, everybody.
Do you know who he is?
Well, just what he told us after the trial, the Ministry of the Interior.
He's more than that.
Well, who is he then?
He's something to do with security.
I guess that.
He's very dangerous.
He was very nice to me.
Is having your son shot very nice?
That wasn't Frederick, that was the call.
Oh, don't believe it. You know what he told me? If I helped him, he could get Rob's sentence commuted.
He told me you could try to save him too.
Do you believe him?
Well, I believe he might try.
On condition you help him first.
Yeah.
Don't.
Well, why not if it helps Robert?
Don't trust Frederick. If you help him, he'll double-cross you anyway.
What am I going to do then?
Have you started your list yet?
Yeah,
Can I see it?
I suppose so.
Did he ask you anything about the professor?
Who?
Dr. Donati, did he ask you anything about him?
No.
When I was there, he had Donati waiting outside in his car.
Well, he never mentioned him.
Donati's not on this list.
Oh, he never came here, the professor?
And Frederick didn't even mention him.
No.
Oh, no, I hope I'm not getting you into any trouble. The list. Look, let him have it exactly as it is, and don't say anything about Donati. If he asks, Donati was just Robert's teacher, no more than that.
Better go, they'll break the door down.
I just came to comfort you, okay?
Come in.
Mr. Sadler,
Yes?
Detective Chief Inspector Sandman. May I come in, please?
What is it?
I have reason to believe you have an illegal visitor.
What is it, Bill?
Miss Ross,
Yes.
do you have permission to visit this house during the curfew?
No,
Then I must ask you to accompany me, please.
but I'm not doing anyone any harm.
You're breaking the law.
For a good reason.
Have you a coat?
I'll get it.
Look, it must be obvious why I'm here.
You can make a statement later if you wish.
His
But Mr.
son's just-
Sadler, I understand you didn't request this visit.
Oh, not exactly. She just came round to keep me company, bit of comfort.
Under the circumstances, no action will be taken against you. Now, Miss Ross.
I'm sorry, Bill. I thought under the circumstances, today of all days, they'd leave us alone. Obviously, I was wrong.
Thanks for coming, love. I hope we don't get into any trouble.
I hope not. I'll get in touch as soon as possible.
Right, Evans.
Bye, Bill. I'll do what I can.
Take care.
If anyone else should call on you without authority to do so, Mr. Sadler, it might be safer if you got in touch with our local police station straight away. If you don't mind.
Oh, she's just a friend of my son's. I wouldn't want her to get into any trouble.
They end up in trouble anyway, sir. So you might as well keep your own hands clean.
Yes, of course.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
You should visit us more often.
How can I? I'm not allowed to zoom all over the place without a permit, like Paul.
I get you a permit to visit Jane. All you have to do is ask.
Favoritism. Was that fair?
To whom? You or Jane?
Me.
Well,
If I apply for a permit again, it will be for a general one, not just to see Jane.
and you would be turned down again.
Then I don't want one.
You're very boring.
Obstinate.
Why does it have to be a general one?
Because I don't believe that you have any right...
No, not me.
Anyone has any right to stop me going anywhere I want to go. If I accept a restricted permit, I'm virtually accepting the system.
Well, it works. Why not? Everyone else does.
It only works by consent. If we all refuse to go along with it, it'll break down tomorrow.
Oh, come on, Mike. Breathing only works by consent. If you choose to stop breathing, you die.
I wish you wouldn't argue. We see Michael once in 5 years, and the two of you settle down to a political argument that I've heard before.
I'm sorry.
Why don't you just accept your differences as part of the status quo and stop trying to convert each other?
Right.
Right.
Right. Where are you staying tonight?
You mean you don't know?
Oh, Michael!
Well, I'm sure he does know.
Yes, all right, I do know. It was just civil to ask.
Oh, what am I going to do about young Sadler, Paul?
What can you do?
I don't know. You want me to talk to him?
Yes. Look, wait at your hotel tomorrow morning. Don't go back to Stackpole. I'll send a car to pick you up.
To take me where?
My office in the country. If I'm going to save that boy...
Don't destroy him in the process, will you?
The process doesn't destroy anyone, Mike. In a responsible society, the only person capable of destroying anyone is the self.
What used to be called the ego.
It still is. If Sadler cooperates with us, neither he nor anyone else will suffer. If he doesn't, it will quite literally be his own funeral.
I must go. I've been saying that for the last hour.
I'll get your coat.
Oh, Michael. Every time I see you, I'm afraid it's going to be the last.
No, it has been yet.
5 years is a long time. I might have...
But you didn't.
Come again soon.
If I'm allowed to.
Oh, enough of that. Come again soon.
I promise. Whatever happens.
And you two behave yourselves. Whatever you may think about each other's politics, most people are just trying to lead ordinary lives. Couldn't give a damn about your system.
Good night, Jane.
Good night.
Good night, Mike. See you tomorrow. Hey, you. I love you.
I love you too.
A fire station in Hendon destroyed, and the relief appliances from the next station sabotaged and unable to assist. A police post blown up and ransacked, while your men apparently guarding a building only 100 yards away in the next street. A car bomb which killed 7 people. Decent, ordinary people, Frederick, trying to lead decent, ordinary lives. And every morning there's more news like this.
The point of terrorism, sir, is that decent, ordinary people are too frightened to cooperate in case the next bomb lands in their own backyards.
You said you had a lead.
Every terrorist group has a basic problem, sir.
I don't want a lecture, Frederick. Do you know who they are?
We know who the dissidents are, sir.
Well, I know who the dissidents are. The trade unionists, the student leaders, the writers. I mean the terrorists.
We have Sadler, sir, who killed the guard at the reservoir. Amongst his known contacts are his unknown contacts. There's a whole chain of communication.
In other words, you don't know. I'm not interested in theories, Frederick. I'm interested in results. Let's have some.
Go back into town, will you, and pick up Professor Donati. You know his time.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, James.
They brought Sadler over last night, sir. The others are either here already or on their way now.
Good. Can we go?
Visited Sadler's father last night, sir, during curfew.
Yes, I heard about that.
She paid the fine, the police returned her to her flat, and she left home this morning on the dot of 7. She's being followed now.
I think we better have her in straight away.
Of course, sir.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. I have not been to confession for a week.
Yes, my child.
Father Conrad.
Who's it?
3701.
What do you want?
Professor Donati's in danger.
What's happened, Sally?
Frederick had me taken to his office in town yesterday. You heard about the trial?
Yes, yes. What did Frederick want?
He wants me to help him. He says if I help, he'll get Rob a reprieve.
What did he say about Donati?
While I was there, he said something about Donati waiting for him outside in his car.
Tell me exactly.
He wanted to give his wife a surprise. He said something about seeing her face when they met.
Do you think he wanted you to hear him say all that?
I don't think so.
And he wants you to cooperate with him?
Yes. I'm to see Rob today and try and persuade him to talk to Frederick, tell him the names of his associates. If I can't do that, then I'm to try and worm the name of a contact out of him and tell Frederick.
Here's what you do. Forget you heard Donati's name even mentioned. Do nothing about Donati. Put him out of your mind. Don't see Sadler. Refuse to help Frederick in any way.
I've agreed to help now. If I change my mind, he'll be suspicious.
Then agree to help, but be careful. The more you do that Frederick wants you to do, the more you're playing into his hands.
What about Donati? Will you warn him?
Forget him. He's not important. Try not to think about him.
He is important.
Do as I tell you. Do nothing more about Donati. Now go.
Miss Ross,
Yes?
Mr. Frederick would like to see you, if you please, miss.
Now?
If you please, miss.
Am I under arrest?
Oh, good Lord, no, but if you can spare the time.
If
Well, seeing as how it's Saturday, miss, we can give you a lift there and back.
I have my shopping to do.
You'll be back by this afternoon, miss.
Shall I answer that for you?
If you would, please.
Yes? My name is Donati, Professor Donati. I'm a friend of Mrs. Frederick.
It's all right, you can let him in.
Now, come in. I'm Dr. Murphy, Mrs. Frederick's physician.
How do you do, Doctor?
How do you do?
Michael?
Jane!
It's all right, you can come in. I'm fairly decent.
Glad to hear it.
You, the Donati?
Well, that depends.
The engineer?
The mathematician?
But you used to be an engineer.
I used to be many things, Doctor. None of them as useful, I fear, as your profession.
Including, though you may not credit it now, my teacher.
Yes. I'm afraid I'm interrupting a session.
Oh, no, we're finished.
How is she?
Oh, very well indeed, considering all the circumstances. I've patients like her are totally bedridden. She's something of a miracle.
You feel like a miracle, Jane?
Just at the moment, I feel very battered. Help me up, would you, Doctor?
Do you want me to leave or stay or...
No, you stay right where you are. Dr. Murphy knows what to do. You'd only drop me.
I'm afraid I was rather a bore last night.
You both were.
It was that trial that upset me.
It upset Paul, too. He went on talking about it for an hour after you'd gone.
He's going to be cross with me again this morning. He wanted me to stay at the hotel.
Did you tell them where you were going?
I did.
Then they'll send the car on here. Thank you, Doctor.
Now, you're sure you're all right? You don't want any more TCH?
I do not.
What's TCH?
It's one of Dr. Murphy's wonder drugs. It's meant to make you feel happier about not feeling very well.
A lifter?
Oh, no, it's much more than a lifter. It gives my patients who might be inclined to despair the boost they need to want to get better. And no organism that's sick can ever get better unless there's a force working within that organism to create the necessary conditions for improvement.
Including society?
Now, where did I leave my coat?
It's in the hall. I'll get it for you.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway, I don't need TCH anymore.
Well, I agree with you on that. I'll see you next week. Same time?
Same time, same place. Thank you.
Professor, it's been a pleasure. I'd almost say an honor to meet you.
Only almost?
A sense of danger hangs around you, Professor. You have too much the reputation of a maverick for me not to be alarmed, even excited by the whiff of sulfur.
He means he thinks of you as a modern form of Satan.
Well, in any case, the pleasure is mine.
I'll let myself out.
How are things, really?
All right. As you see, I'm not very mobile, but otherwise in the best of health.
Any pain?
Not physically, no. The loss of feeling is still the worst part of it.
You mean sensation or emotion?
Well, the loss of one puts a pretty heavy strain on the other.
You mean it's harder to love Paul when you can't make love to him, too?
No slouch, old Michael, are you?
I tried many years ago to cure you of that habit of using abstractions and make personal statements.
I do still love him.
I saw that last night. You still like him?
Yes,
And respect him?
I do.
You know what he's doing?
Who better?
He still talks to you enough?
If he didn't, I'd know things had broken down really badly. We wouldn't be able to continue.
You have no regrets?
No. No, I have no regrets. That must be your car.
Jane, if there is anything you want, anything I can send
Paul
you...
gives me everything I want. Now, you better go. And try and make him bring you back to dinner again tonight.
That depends on what happens to that boy.
There's nothing I can do about that. Absolutely nothing.
I know.
He's one of your students, Michael. And so was Paul.
So were you.
I'd say it was pretty much up to you.
Bye, Jane.
Bye.
Donati,
Professor. Your car's here, sir.
Right. I'm coming down.
No, that's all right. Good morning.
What do you want?
Not who am I?
Well, God obviously calls you God. Why should I be concerned about your identity?
My name is Frederick.
What do you want, Mr. Frederick?
Now sit down.
I saw you at the trial.
Yes.
So-called trial.
You weren't brilliantly defended, were you?
Well, it's not that easy to find a good lawyer.
Prepared to defend someone like you?
At all.
Oh, come now.
Oh, lots of efficient, even brilliant ones, but not necessarily good. Virtuous.
Need they be?
In my book.
Is it virtuous to kill?
You've not come here to convert me, have you?
No, to give you the chance to convert me.
I don't believe you.
To convince me, then.
What, that I mean what I say?
That you're worth saving.
Saving? From hellfire?
From the firing squad.
Why should you?
Because I hate waste. You're young. We've spent a lot of money on you so far. To educate you. To teach you to think for yourself. If that training results in your thinking the system's all wrong, that's a chance we have to take. But I don't want to throw away the investment merely because it's been apparently unsuccessful.
And what must I do to be saved?
Help me.
I've told the police all I'm prepared to tell anyone.
You know, if one of you would learn to trust us, just one, you would find that we keep our word. You tell me the names of the others in your group and we save your life. We rehabilitate you and in time we set you free. The others we pick up through your help suffer the same, not very terrible fate. And perhaps in time you would all learn that the system you seek to overthrow is not the enemy you believe it to be.
I had no helpers. I was entirely on my own.
The trouble is, you see, if you don't help us, we have to guess. Fumble in the dark. Pick up those we believe to be your associates, and that could lead, unwittingly on our part, to the occasional injustice.
You mean if I don't help you, you persecute my family and friends?
Not persecute, no. Society, though, does have the right to protect itself against the rash actions of fanatics.
Look, if you attack my friends, you make more and more enemies for yourself. And the more enemies you make, the sooner you fall. I won't help you.
Then I shall turn to those who will. I will save you in spite of yourself.
Save me?
Yes! Save you. I will save you because I will not allow you to become a hero. And that is what you're after. I sat in that court and I heard all you had to say about the rottenness of the system, the lack of freedom, and the monsters in power. Well, what about the power of the hand grenade, Sadler? Let me remind you, there is a woman who lives in Stackpool. Her name is Goodman. She has 2 children. She had a husband. A decent, ordinary man that worked for his living just like your father. She doesn't have him anymore. Because you, with your talk of freedom, of helping, not harming, of preserving life, you blew him to pieces with a hand grenade. And I'm not going to let you forget it.
Did you want me, Father?
I understand you may be going to London today.
I am.
I'd be grateful if you could do something for me.
Urgently?
Reasonably.
If you'll just give me a few more minutes, we can go for a stroll somewhere quiet and you can tell me about it.
Makes no difference whatsoever. Whatever you care to do for me, you'll not have the satisfaction of seeing me beg for leniency. I know that whatever I say will make no impression on you at all. This trial's a complete farce, a complete charade. But if by what I've done...
Yes, don't.
Even if by this
Mr.
trial
Sadler Senior has
there might be
arrived.
one person
Fine, show him up.
validity of your law, then I will have done something, despite you all. Once the law protected innocence.
Sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Sadler. Would you come this way, please?
I've brought the list for Mr. Frederick.
Good. This way, please.
Come in.
Mr. Sadler, sir.
Ah, Mr. Sadler. Come in. Can I get you a drink? Some tea, some coffee?
Oh, some tea would be very nice.
With milk and sugar?
Please.
My usual, please, Dent, and tea with milk and sugar for Mr. Sadler.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you sit down?
Thank you. Well, not very long, I'm afraid. Somebody I can't remember the names of. Long time, 5 years.
Did you ask Miss Ross to help you with that?
Who?
Sally Ross, when she came to see you last night.
Oh, no, she just came round to comfort me, talk about Robert a bit.
Comfort you how?
Oh, we were both fond of him. It helps sometimes to talk when you're down.
Did it?
Did we talk?
Comfort you?
Not much.
Well, she wasn't there for very long, was she?
No, the police came round. Well, she shouldn't have gone out, not without a permit like that.
Well, they were bound to be watching after the trial.
Told her.
Did you show her that?
Should I have done?
Did you?
No.
Why not?
Well, she just came to talk.
About Robert?
Yes.
Did you find it at all difficult preparing the list?
Yes, I told you 5 years is a long time.
When did you start?
Yesterday, right after I got home.
You found it hard to remember. When did Sally come over to see you?
10:30.
Why not sooner?
I suppose she stayed in London.
Come in. Ah, thank you, Dad.
Excuse me.
Just, help yourself, Mr. Sadler.
Thank you.
Now then, let me see. You were in the middle of preparing that list when your son's girlfriend, whom he has known for 4 or 5 years, came to visit you. Now, it's such a natural thing, such an innocent thing for you to do, to ask her to help you with it, to recall some half-remembered name, pin down a fleeting recollection. It's such a natural thing, such an innocent thing, that I become suspicious when you say you didn't do it.
Perhaps I did have a glance at it.
Why did you tell me you didn't?
That's the way you ask.
I make you feel guilty.
A bit.
You let her glance at it. Did you show it to her, or did she ask to see it?
How would she know I was doing a list?
Because she saw you with me before you caught your train home. She saw you with me, she asked you what I wanted to know, you told her about the list, she asked to see it.
No.
She did see you with me.
Yes.
Go on.
Go on.
She came to see you.
Yes.
She asked you what I wanted to know.
Well...
It would be perfectly natural for her to ask, wouldn't it?
I suppose so.
You told her about the list.
Yes.
She asked to see it.
Yes!
There you are, Mr. Sadler. Telling the truth is so much simpler than lying, isn't it? Why did you lie?
Why you ask?
To cover something up. Now, what could that be? Have you left a name? Some names off the list, is that it? Did Sally Ross see a name on that list last night and ask you to remove it?
No.
No. Ah! Then you've put a name on the list that shouldn't be there at all.
No.
No, then what have you done, Mr. Sadler? Mr. Sadler, you are supposed to be here, helping your son. Now, you've already discovered that telling lies doesn't work, because I invariably find out the truth. Now, why don't you save time, Mr. Sadler, and your son's life, and tell me the truth now, quickly?
I have told you the truth.
You have told me a pack of very bad lies. Unsubtle, Unthought out, unsubstantiated. Now grow wise, Mr. Sadler. Did Miss Ross see a name on that list last night and ask you to remove it? Have you removed any names from that list?
No, not exactly.
No, then what have you done, Mr. Sadler?
We were talking about the people on the list, and she merely observed that there was someone whose name she thought I might have included that wasn't there.
Who?
Well, he wasn't important. He wasn't on the list because
Who?
He never came to the house.
Who?
Professor Donati. He never came to the house, sir, I swear it.
Can you remember exactly what Miss Ross said?
She commented that Professor Donati didn't appear on the list, and I said he never came to the house anyway.
But he didn't come, did he?
As far as I know, definitely not.
Thank you, Mr. Sadler. If you would care to be our guest at lunch, it will be served to you in your room.
My room?
Well, just whilst you're here, until we have a car to send you home in. Come in. Oh, Dent. Would you show Mr. Sadler to his room, please?
Yes, sir.
Shall I be able to see Robert?
After lunch. Dent, would you arrange for Mr. Sadler to visit his son this afternoon?
Yes, sir. Will you come this way, Mr. Sadler?
I hope the list will be of some use.
Oh, it has been already. Most useful indeed, most useful, thank you.
This way, sir.
I'm, sorry about that.
No, Mr. Sadler, please don't give it a second thought. Thank you very much indeed, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ah, Mr. Sadler, come in. Can I get you a drink? Or some tea, coffee?
Can I get you a drink, sir? Some tea or some coffee?
With milk and sugar. Yes, thank you, Dent. I will have another cup of coffee. I think that one's quite cold by now.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, Dent, you'd better make a transcript of that.
I took one as you went along, sir.
My goodness, Dent. I don't know how you manage it.
Thank you, sir. Young Sadler should be leaving his cell just about now, sir.
Are you a mind reader, too?
It would seem the logical next step, sir.
Going for a walk?
I'm not going far.
Oh, incidentally, I've just had a most informative and long conversation with your father and one or two of your other colleagues.
Oh, yes? What did he have to say?
Oh, all sorts of things. No, it's funny. Your friend, Dr. Donati, seems to be at the center of everything. In any case, everyone I ever talk to seems to spend a great deal of time and effort trying not to mention his name, not to involve him in any way.
Involve him in what, for heaven's sake?
You, your little conspiracy. And as everyone is so anxious to persuade me he's not involved.
He's not!
There you are, you see, even you're doing it.
But Donati's my teacher, that's all.
I can only conclude there must be some reason for it and act accordingly.
You're crazy. Why Donati, of all people?
It wasn't my idea. Your father, Sally Ross. Not to mention half a dozen others not so close to you. All of them have gone out of their way not to mention Donati. And yet Donati himself considers that he is sufficiently involved with you already to appear as a witness in your defense and to declare himself to be your personal friend.
But he is a friend. Can't a person have a friend anymore without there being something sinister in it?
Indeed they can, but then you would expect the common friends of those friends not to avoid mentioning the fact of the friendship.
Well, Donati has absolutely nothing to do with the movement, nothing.
Perhaps he recruited you in the first place. He's in an ideal position to act as a recruiting
He knows
officer.
nothing, absolutely nothing.
Then perhaps you better tell me who does.
No, I've told you all I'm prepared to.
Very well. I shall have Donati arrested and tried for conspiracy.
You wouldn't dare. He's a national figure.
All the more dangerous for being so.
What you're really doing is picking on the most brilliant, most distinguished, most famous man I know and threatening to victimize him if I don't help you.
No, I'm not. I'm quite serious in telling you that I have every reason to believe that Donati's involved with you. Heavily involved. Well, allow me to act on my beliefs.
You're making a bad mistake. If you pick on Donati, you'll make more enemies that way than by executing 50 like me.
I think not. Oh, incidentally, I made arrangements for your girlfriend to visit you. I'm hoping she's going to be able to talk some sense into you.
Watched by television cameras all the time.
Well, you weren't proposing to jump into bed with her straight away. Well, no, of course you two don't. I'll tell you what, you could go for a walk in the grounds. It's a bit cold, and you'd still be watched, of course, from a distance.
With directionalized microphones pointing at us.
No. But if you want to think so, it's the best I can do. It's up to you.
Have you said anything to Frederick?
I haven't even seen him this morning.
Then he's bluffing.
Maybe, but why tell you and then let us talk privately? If we are being...
It's to see what you'll do next.
I shan't do anything.
Oh, I'd better have Donati in now.
He had lunch, sir. I explained that you'd been called out to a meeting.
Fine. Show him up, would you?
Do you want Sadler and the girl to see him, sir?
I don't think it matters. The trap is already baited. Oh, they're on the way back now. Dent?
Sir?
Tell Miss Ross she can go, would you?
You don't want to see her at all, sir? Very good, sir.
Oh, Dent. What room is Donati in? I didn't want them actually meeting downstairs.
He's in room 5, sir. I'll bring him straight over. Professor, you can go straight in now.
Mike, I'm so sorry to have kept you waiting. I was called out unexpectedly. Do sit down.
I had an excellent lunch, and the room in there is well stocked with books.
I gather you dropped in on Jane again this morning. How was she?
Who told you that?
Ah, was it a secret?
No, I would have told you myself. Who did? Jane or the driver?
Jane, she tells me almost everything.
What doesn't she tell?
That which would not interest me, that which it would distress me to know, and that which she chooses not to admit to herself. Oh, Mike, I'm sorry to do this to you again. Would you excuse me just for a moment? I won't keep you a second.
You can go home now, Miss Ross. There's a car ready.
Go home? I don't want to go home.
Well, that's up to you, Miss Ross, but there's nothing more for you to do here.
I want to see Frederick. That's why they brought me here. I'm not going till I've seen him.
I don't believe Mr. Frederick wishes to see you.
I'm not going! He had me brought all this way here on my day off. I'm damn well going to see him at the end of it.
Very well, Miss Ross. If you'd like to wait here, I'll see if he can fit you in sometime.
Given a set of facts from which it is possible to predict a certain course of action, what must I conclude if that course of action does not follow from those facts?
Assuming that the prediction is a fair one.
Oh, yes.
Then either the facts are not as you suppose them to be, or that your understanding of them is at fault.
Yes. Mike, would you mind very much staying here the night? You'll be perfectly comfortable.
Jane wanted you to bring me back with her to dinner.
Oh, well, that's all right. You could do that, too.
Consider me entirely at your service, Paul. There's very little else I need to do.
Hello, Rob.
Dad?
How you keeping?
All right.
It's comfortable here, isn't it?
As prisons go.
Yeah.
What are you doing here, then?
Mr. Frederick wanted to ask me some questions.
He would. What sort of questions?
About you. When you went off, who your friends were, that sort of thing. Oh, I told him I didn't know anything. Didn't seem to make any difference.
Why not?
He always seems to ask questions he knows the answers to.
Not all the time. He wouldn't ask the questions if he knew the answers. Best thing for you is not to say anything at all.
But I want to help you, Rob. And he said if I did help, he'd see if he couldn't get you a reprieve.
I don't want a reprieve, Dad.
You don't want to die?
No! But I don't want to live life the way they want me to live it. Now, if I have to choose between being shot and doing things their way, now, I don't want to be shot. But it's no kind of life, Dad.
It's not that bad, Rob. We've had fun, haven't we? It's not so terrible.
I didn't notice it growing up. You're not free. I mean, you're not free.
I am.
Look, since when have you had a say in what you wanted to do? You lived in the house they allotted, you did the job they told you to do. They even sent me to the school they chose. Mum died in the hospital they put her in.
It's the same for everybody, Rob. I liked my job.
Did you want to retire?
Be fair, you've got to make room for a younger man. You can't stop progress. Your mother. I couldn't have found a better hospital for her if I'd been a millionaire.
I'm not saying it wasn't good. What I'm saying is, did you have a choice? You couldn't have looked after her at home, could you? They wouldn't let you.
Don't understand you, Rob. I saw you threw that hand grenade.
I did.
And killed somebody.
Yes!
Because I had to retire at 55.
Oh, Dad, it had nothing to do with that. These are the symptoms. I was attacking the disease.
I've had a comfortable life, Rob, and I've been happy.
You've never done anything.
No, I've never killed anybody. You'll be able to talk a bit to me after your mother died.
Oh, Dad. It had nothing to do with that. The things that brought me here started long before she died.
Mrs. Blake, could you bring in the proofs of Father Easton's pamphlet, please?
Yes, Father.
Press is roaring along all right.
Oh, hardly roaring, Father Easton. I think you have a rather romantic view of our little printing adventure. We thud rather than thunder.
Hello, Mrs. Blake. How are things with you?
Fine, thank you, Father. Just fine.
And Mr. Blake?
Oh, no better, I'm afraid.
But no worse, I hope.
Oh, no, God be praised, no worse. The doctor's very good.
Does he get about at all?
Oh, he's pretty much bedridden, Father. Pretty much all the time.
You'll give him my regards, I hope?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Mrs. Blake. And I'll ring you when the proofs are ready.
Would you like me to take them home with me over the weekend and get them finished in time for the presses on Monday?
Well, if Father Easton could have them ready in time.
I shouldn't like to keep you late on a Saturday afternoon, Mrs. Blake.
All right, Father. I've got plenty of work to do. Oh, thank you, Father.
She is a willing soul, a very hard worker.
I shan't disturb you, will I, Father? If I carry on with this?
Not at all. You carry on, Father Easton.
You wanted to see me?
You wanted to see me?
Oh, that was this morning. I have all the information I need now. Thank you very much.
Yesterday, you were anxious for me to do all I could to help round up Robert's associates.
And now I've done it without your assistance. You can go home.
I don't believe you.
Please yourself.
You're playing some kind of game with me.
Not again.
You want me to do something?
Miss Ross, anyone that comes to this house and agrees to help is doing something, however little, to help me.
Except me.
Even you.
But I'm not doing anything.
Well, that in itself is significant.
Why? How can it be?
What did Sadler say to you?
You don't know?
No.
You weren't listening?
Why should I? Anyway, I gave him my word that your conversation would be in private.
Why?
Why do you think?
Well, so he'd tell me something and I'd go zooming off and lead you to someone else.
Partly.
Well, he told me nothing and I'm not going anywhere.
Tell me, Miss Ross, have you ever read the memoirs of Sherlock Holmes?
I've got better things to do with my time.
Oh, that's a pity. There is, in one of the stories, the curious incident of the dog who did nothing during the night time. The curiousness of the incident lay in the fact that a dog, which could normally have been expected to do something during the night time, did nothing. It didn't bark, it didn't howl, although there was ample apparent reason for it during the night to howl the place down. Well, your doing nothing may tell me just as much as if you'd done a good deal. Good afternoon, Miss Ross.
I'm not going.
Very well. Very well, stay. Dent, would you show Miss Ross to a comfortable room, please? Perhaps if you'd like to make out a list of anything you might need, I'm sure Mr. Dent can arrange to have it picked up for you.
I don't think they can hear us from here.
Don't mention any names, to be on the safe side.
Is there anything you want me to do?
Frederick said we could talk in private, but I don't trust him, so I won't mention any names, not out loud.
Come in, Dent.
Did you say anything to Frederick?
I haven't even seen him this morning.
Sit down.
Then he's bluffing.
Maybe, but why tell you and then let us talk privately? If we are being...
It's to see what you'll do next.
I shan't do anything. I shouldn't think they can hear us from here.
Don't mention any names anyway, to be on the safe side.
Is there anything you want me to do?
Tell me, Dent. If our Miss Ross isn't dashing about the countryside, passing on the good or bad news, why isn't she?
Because whoever it is you wanted to talk to knows the news already, sir. At a guess. What is she meant to be telling to whom?
She is meant to be telling someone that my good friend and teacher, Michael Andrew Donati, is known to me as a terrorist and a traitor.
Good heavens, Paul. You don't really believe that, do you?